Karabakh always was and will be an integral part of Azerbaijan. And I want to pass all this word that I'm going to tell in the video to those who get history of Karabakh by Wikipedia created by Armenians. In ancient times, the territory of Karabakh covered the Uzi, Paitakaran and Artsakh provinces of Albania. The territory of Karabakh, located between the Kura and Araz rivers, was inhabited mainly by local tribes, Albanians, Uzis, Gargars, Savdais, as well as foreign tribes, Muscots, Sacs, Gels and Bals. During the reign of the Albanian ruler Javanshir, 616-681, Albania became a powerful state. At that time, the capital of Albania was Barda, one of the oldest cities of Karabakh. The Arab campaigns, which began in the 17th century, resulted with the conquest of Albania. From the 8th century, a new era began in Karabakh, as elsewhere in Azerbaijan. Karabakh became the northern center of the Caliphate. After the collapse of the Arab Caliphate, late 9th century, the principles of Sunnik and Artsakh Hachun, Turkish origin, were established in the territory of Karabakh. The territory of Karabakh, together with the host territory of Azerbaijan, dates back to the first quarter of the 12th century of the database of Azerbaijan. At the beginning of the 13th century, it came under the rule of the Hulagu. At the end of the 14th century, Karabakh became a battlefield for Timur, and in the 15th century for the Timurids and Karakoyunlus. Starting from the 1410, Azerbaijani land south of the Kura, including Karabakh, came under the control of the Karakoyunlus. After the collapse of the Karakoyunlu state in 1467, Karabakh became part of the Agoyunlu state. At the beginning of the 16th century, 1501, the Karabakh Principality, one of the administrative territories created by the Safavid state of Azerbaijan, included Astabat, Javanshir, Bargushat, Gazakh, Shemsaddin from the 70s to the beginning of the 18th century. Thus, Karabakh, as before, was an integral part of Azerbaijan in the 10th, 12th centuries and was part of the post-Caliphate states ruled by Turkish rulers such as Sajids, Salarids, Eldigis, Elhanis, known also as Hulakuis, Karakoyunlus, Agoyunlus, Safavids. The main leading part of the population of Karabakh consisted of Turkic tribes. At the beginning of the 8th century, Karabakh was part of the West Empire of Nadir Shah Afshar, one of the 20 Khanates that emerged in Azerbaijan after the collapse of the empire was the Karabakh Khanate, which had a large area between the Kura and Araz rivers. The foundation of the Karabakh Khanate was laid by Panaghali Khan from the Sarajali carving of the Javanshir dynasty. Russia, which has been seeking to secure its economic interests by subjugating the Caucasus since the 18th century, achieved this in the first half of the 19th century. In 1805, the Kurakchay Treaty was signed between the Karabakh Khan and the Russian Emperor. This treaty brought the Karabakh Khanate under the protection of Russia. According to the terms of the treaty, the Karabakh Khanate became a vassal of the Russian Empire. So, after the Gulistan 1813 and Turkmenchay 1828 treaties between the Russia and Iran, the Russian state relocated and settled in Karabakh more than 40,000 Armenians from Iran and 90,000 Armenians from Turkey. Tsarist Russia began the process of Armenization in Karabakh. Thus, the Karabakh region of Azerbaijan became a hotbed of conflict. At the beginning of the 20th century, the policy of ethnic cleansing in Karabakh became widespread. This resulted in the massacre of Turkish Muslims by armed Armenians in 1905-1906. Armenians were able to strengthen in Karabakh as a result of the comprehensive support of the Tsarism and the favorable conditions created by it. From the beginning of the 20th century, Armenian nationalists began the systematic expel, massacre, and national genocide of the Azerbaijanis living in the historical land. In March 1918, the Azerbaijani population of the Karabakh region was also subjected to genocide. In 1918-1920, Armenian Dashnaks destroyed villages in Karabakh and expelled thousands of Azerbaijanis from their native lands. In 1923, the Armenians raised the issue of administrative territory in the favorable conditions created by the collapse of Tsarism and the establishment of the Soviet government in Russia, and created an institution with no historical or socio-economic basis like Nagorno-Karabakh Autonomous Region. During the Soviet period, there were several attempts to annex Nagorno-Karabakh to Armenia. Starting from the early 1988, another territorial claim of Armenia against Azerbaijan filed in Nagorno-Karabakh. Thousands of our compatriots were deported from their historical and ethnic territories, from an ancient Oghuz Turkic land, Western Azerbaijan, now called Armenia. In July 1988, it was decided to separate Nagorno-Karabakh from Azerbaijan, and in 1989, to annex it to Armenia. Armed Armenian gangs drove the local Azerbaijani population out of the Nagorno-Karabakh, their homeland. In 1991, Armenian armed forces launched open military operation. On September 2, 1991, Armenian separatists announced the establishment of an illegal organization, the fake Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, in Upper Karabakh. In 1992, Armenian armed forces launched large-scale military operation in Upper Karabakh. On the 9th of February 25 to 26, 1992, Armenian military units with the participation of the 366th Regiment of the Russian Armed Forces stationed in Stepanakert, Hankendi, destroyed the city of Khojaly with a population of 7,000 Azerbaijanis. The civilian population was subjected to a terrible genocide. In 1992-1993, the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh and 7 other regions of Azerbaijan, Laçın, Kelbecer, Ağdam, Fizuli, Jabrayil, Gubadlı, Zengilan, were occupied by the Armenian military. As a result of Armenia's military aggression, 20% of Azerbaijani lands were occupied. More than 30,000 people were killed. About 50,000 people were injured and maimed. Up to 1 million Azerbaijanis became refugees and internally displaced persons. More than 4,581 people were captured and missing. The first phase of the war has ended with an officially signed ceasefire in 1995.